Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
Andrew McCart, IFLTV. I've just arrived in Manchester, soaking wet, half an hour late, but I made it, Frank. How are you?
Half an hour, it wasn't too bad, mate. It's good, it's lovely weather, lovely day here in Manchester. Good to be in the sunshine.
From Vegas to Manchester, I'm sure I've seen you playing golf. Was it the Wynn Golf Club? A nice sunny day, then you came to Manchester, soaking wet, but we love it, don't we?
Life's all about balance. You know, one day golf club in the sun in Vegas, next day rain at the gym in Manchester.
Let's talk about Manchester. We'll come on to Vegas, the card out in Vegas, but let's talk about Manchester. We've got an absolute great domestic dust-up here, and I'm really looking forward to this fight in Jordan Gill and Zelfa Barrett. I think this is definitely one of them fights where it's going to light up, it's going to ignite, and we're going to get fireworks. 100%.
It's the kind of fights we need to make as well. We've all seen how great domestic clashes are, and this fight between Zelfa and Jordan, it's going to set the winner up for big things, and it's the kind of fight both of them needed to put themselves in the position for those big fights. You know, Jordan coming off the back of a tremendous win against Michael Conlan out in Belfast. A lot of people wrote him off there. And, you know, Zelfa Barrett as well, building himself back up. You know, obviously he had around 18 months ago, had the Rakimov fight, but put on a great showing of himself and has built himself back up. And like I say, this fight, the winner will go on to challenge him for a world title, I'm quite sure of it. And the loser as well will still have opportunities. You know, it's a great fight and great to see the two of them jumping in and taking this type of fight.
I'm glad you said that, because I think with you and Eddie, you've sort of this year you've made emphasis on the fact that even though it is winner stays on, but the loser, if you make a good account of yourself, if you go in there, say yes to the 50-50 fights, put on a good show, you can easily come back from that.
100%, and that's what's been detrimental with the sport for too long, is there's been too much pressure around retaining that zero. You know, and look, I know it's all winning's important, but at the same time, making great fights is what's important, because without making great fights, the sport's not going to grow and develop. And that's where I think we've stepped back, you know, behind the lights of UFC, because they make great fights. They put fighters in together that should fight. And it shouldn't be that you lose a fight. I saw Sonny Edwards posting about it earlier, but you lose a fight, everyone's like, finished. Doesn't matter. As long as you go in there, you give it everything. It's a bit like Fraser Clarke, Fabio Wardley. Whoever would have lost, if someone would have lost that fight, they both would have got a lot of credit, come away and got big fights off the back of it. Same with Sonny Edwards, you know, against Jesse Rodriguez. He went in there, he took a proper fight, he didn't get the result, but he won more fans that night than he maybe would have done winning in a nothing fight against a nothing opponent, respectfully. You know, so I think that's what we need to keep pushing in the sport, because it's only going to benefit the sport in the long term.
Talk about the winner, though, Barrett and Gill. Obviously, Kakachi and Cordina are fighting next month, I believe. Is it 18th of May? Is it? Yeah? You know better than me, your dates. Is that a possible fight? The winner of that fight, I know Kakachi's with Frank, but the winner of this fight, could that possibly be a matchup if Cordina wins?
Yeah, look, I think obviously, you know, the IBF have got a mandatory as well with our man who won out in Russia or in Tajikistan recently. So they've got that mandatory first, the winner of the IBF fight on May 18th. I think there's other opportunities out there for them as well, though. You know, there's big fights to be made. I think, you know, there's other world title fights out there to be made. I think see what happens May 18th, see what happens with that mandatory shot with the IBF, and go from there. But they're going to be fully focused on Saturday night first and foremost, because they need to get the result.
We know that Eddie's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to fight cards, and he can rattle off the fight cards, right? You've got Ellie Scott, you've got Rihanna Dixon, you've got William Crawler, you've got Brandon Scott. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm going to put your knowledge to the test. I want you to run down that card every fight. Can you do it?
I can. We'll give it a good go. Look, Ellie Scottney, obviously in a big unification fight, she's got her opportunity. You know, she's worked so hard and sort of done it in a quiet manner. She's a quiet personality, and I think this is a big chance to go on and become unified champion, and big opportunities from here as well. Rhiannon Dixon fights for her first world title against Carbajal, someone who fought Katie Taylor. It's a real test for her there, you know, and then big opportunities coming through off the back of that. You know, we've seen the likes of Beatrice Ferreira is going to challenge for the world title as well, another fight we promote. You've got Caroline Dubois as well, is in that division, so big fights to be made there as well. You've got Michael Gomez Jr. against Kane Baker, another brilliant fight that we're excited for. It's a great fight on the card, great to have that on there. Cameron Wong against Jordan Flynn should have been on here. Obviously, that's going to be delayed. New date for that soon. Jordan Flynn will still fight on the card on Saturday. Chev Clarke, he's fighting on here. I think he had his professional debut in Liverpool a few months ago. Jack Turner is on here. Brandon Scott. William Crawler. There's one other. My mind's gone blank. Your mind's gone blank as well. Chev Clarke, Jack Turner, Brandon Scott, William Crawler. There's one more. We've done Jordan Flynn. We're both useless.
Yeah. Looking about it, I've not mentioned. And we think, listen, we don't do this on purpose. We apologise if we haven't got you there. But yeah, great card all in all. For Saturday.
I slept in about 3 days. I just come back from Vegas, got jet lag.
What's my excuse then?
The worst thing is you made a comment about it, and now you're blaming me.
I was testing your knowledge, not my knowledge. So I tell you what, you did rattle off a couple of mandatories and potential opponents. And well, that's very.
I've got like a B minus.
I'll give you a B plus. Don't worry, you're just short of an A. Well, let's talk about sort of these mandatories and purse bids. I mean, you're probably sick and tired of it right now, but as I was driving down here, I stopped off at T-Base Services for a nice steak pie and a coffee.
Is that why you were late?
That's what I was there. There was a little bit of traffic as well, Frank, to be honest. Let's talk about this Chev Clarke and Isaac Chamberlain. You're probably sick to the back teeth of this happening every time. I think Eddie Hearn put a tweet out saying 5th time in a row it's happened. You mentioned in your interview with Calm about your dislike for Ben Shalom. This must be frustrating for you. I mean, it's happened again, and to Eddie's words, it's the 5th time it's happened.
Yeah, look, it's frustrating, as you say. The thing is, I understand there's other opportunities out there. Look, we all represent fighters. We all have to do what's best for fighters. So I get that. We've made decisions in the past to go a different route, and rightly so. I understand it. But you have to do it in the right manner. This fight's been spoken about for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever the time frame is. And it's a fight that people were looking forward to. Even Isaac Chamberlain was talking about the fight last week. Only last week was he making comments about the fight against Chev Clarke. They're now saying they're going the European route. I mean, I don't think they woke up this morning and said, right, we'll go to Europe. They've obviously been planning this or thinking this, or maybe they'll fight Vidal Riley. Maybe that's what they'll do. It's an in-house fight between two boxer fighters. Maybe that's what they're looking to do. And, again, I get it. I get that there's other options out there. We may do the same with one of our fighters, but do it in the right manner at the right time. Don't wait until the day of the purse, because you're holding up Chev Clarke's career. Don't worry. All we worry about is the fighters we represent. We can't do anything about other fighters. But you're holding up Chev Clarke's career, and that's what, that's our focus. So we're working on what's next for Chev now. It's frustrating, but is what it is, isn't it? We could talk about it all day. We can sound like we're, causing problems. We don't want to work, but it's what it is. We have to move on.
The 11th hour, though. I mean, to have your team go out to Cardiff to put that purse bid in place, and again, Eddie alluded to the fact that was going to be the highest purses for both fighters to date, because you're really going to go for it, I believe. But to leave it so late in the day, your team's already off to Cardiff to maybe put that bid in or whatever. I mean, how annoying or frustrating is that? Because, again, Ben Shalom has made points to the fact that he wants to work with Matchroom. He wants to sit down with Eddie because he's never met Eddie. But this isn't going to help the relationship out to get that sit down with Eddie, to have that workout, is it?
No, but again, we can make the comment, everyone sounds like we're bitter or causing problems. It is what it is. It's one of those things. We have to focus on our business and what we're doing. We have to focus on our fighters and delivering the best possible opportunities. And we'll continue to do that. They'll say it's nothing to do with us, it's Mick Hennessy, which they've already come out and said, but Isaac Chamberlain's past fights have all been on boxer shows. And the reason it's probably all happened is because they want to do the Vidal Riley fight, I guess. And yeah, the paydays would have been massive. So, it is what it is. If they don't want the fighters to get the best possible opportunities financially, then, Michael Sislak's a real hard fight. So I hope he's getting as much money, if not more, to fight Michael Sislak than he would have got in the bid we made for this fight.
Away from sort of like the Chev Clarke and this sort of purse bid scenario with Bing, but can you envision a sit down with Ben Shalom and Eddie Hearn? Will that ever happen? I don't know. You're very, very close with Eddie. You spend a lot of time. You're best mates. What's Eddie's sort of vibe or thoughts on this sit down, or if there ever will be a meeting with Ben Shalom to get fights made, as Ben put on TalkSport, I believe?
Yeah, I think again it's frustrating because we're not the cause of any issues here. You know, we've had multiple fighters of ours fight on boxer shows on Sky Sports. You know, we've never stood in the way of that. It's not our intention to do so. We want to do what's best for the fighters we represent at the end of the day. Time and time again, this has been set by boxer Ben Shalom. And every time you speak to Ben Shalom, he's like, well, we'll do the fight on Sky. It's like, well, there's 2 platforms. Let's see what, if it makes sense for him to go on yours, if it makes sense for it to happen on our show. You know, at the end of the day, the problem they've got is they haven't got enough fighters to service what they need to service on Sky, so they can't lose anything. And Fabio Wardley situation, you can all sit back now and say, great decision for him not to fight. They made that decision because they didn't want to lose a purse bid. They didn't care about Fabio Wardley. It wasn't about Fabio Wardley being ready for the fight, irrelevant. That's the truth. They didn't want that fight to happen on a Matchroom DAZN show. That's all it was. So, you know, he sits there and goes, I want to sit down, I've never met Eddie Hearn, I want to sit down with Eddie Hearn. It's like, well, you know, I've had multiple sit downs with him. Nothing really ever comes of it. So, you know, I'm sure Eddie's got a lot going on. Eddie's a busy man. We run a business of 350 events across 8 different sports a year. He's the chairman of our group, of our business. And he's also busy, you know, he's got a lot of obligations, got a lot of media obligations. He'll sit down with anyone. Eddie's not like, you know him, he's not like going to sit there and say, you're not, you know, I haven't got time for you. But at the same time, he puts people in place to operate the business day to day, so he doesn't have to worry about certain elements of it. I don't know, it confuses me, the whole thing. The victim mentality confuses me. We're just the poor little new people over here and everyone's going against us. It's like, he hasn't made one friend in boxing. No one likes Ben Shalom in boxing. And that's not me being, like, that's the reality of it, you know. And all it comes down to is the way you operate and the way you deal with people. You know, and look, money changes things. People say, yeah, oh, Ben's great. The reality is it's just down to money. No relationship. So I'll sit down with anyone. I'll sit and talk to anyone. There's a lot of people I don't like, but I'll sit and do business with them. Tons of people. So that doesn't change the fact. And, you know, people compare it to the whole Matchroom Queensberry relationship. As much as we were on here going, oh, Frank's this, Eddie's it, you know, like, we still did business. We still did John Ryder against Zach Parker, as an example. You know, it was a fight we made without going to purse bids. It was obviously mandated, but it was a fight we made without purse bids. We could still do good business because it was about business. It wasn't about personalities. It wasn't about individuals. It was about making fights happen. So as much as there was a lot of stick, it didn't really matter. We still did business together. So the comparisons don't really make sense to me. It's very one-way traffic here. You know, it's they pull out of everything. We're willing to do things. We're willing to work together. They pull out of fights. Give me some examples of fights that can be made. Oh, here's 10. Oh, well, they're pulled out of 6 of them already. You know, so I don't know. I don't know where the light is at the end of the tunnel. I don't know if there is light at the end of the tunnel. But, you know, it's frustrating for us because people say we talk about it. We get asked questions about it. We're not standing in the way of anything. We will do business with anyone for the benefit of our fighters. You know, and if you want to make something happen, make something happen. If you don't, stop moaning about it and sitting there like a crybaby.
Away from that quickly, I just want to touch on Joshua. Did you hear his comments that he's looking to retire, or he's thinking about retiring in a 2-year period? He's got that 2-year sort of time limit now on when he will retire. I mean, the boxing world will miss Joshua when he does leave, but I think it's 2 years too soon. Yeah, look, it's. I think he's had a long career. He's been professional for 11 years now, coming up to just over 11 years. Does another 2 years, that's 13 years. 13 years of heavyweight boxing, not just fights, but sparring, training, everything around it. It's heavy duty. And it's good to see, look, he's obviously done very well. He could stop in the sport tomorrow and he'd be comfortable. He's still got goals, he's still got targets he wants to achieve. And that will be the focus for him. That's what he'll want to do. But it's good to see a fighter who's planning. It's just like anyone in any career, isn't it? You know, like you may have a path and a plan of what you want to do. I know what I want. I've got my coaching licence, so I've got a few fighters I'm turning pro, so there's a new path for me. Yeah, but I want to be in something else in 5. I want to be doing X, Y, Z in 5 years. It's all the same.
But in those next 2 years, he can do everything he wants to do. He's done even if he quit the sport today, he's done so much for the sport. And I don't think he'll really be respected for that until he retires, is the truth and reality of it. But I think he's got so much left to deliver the sport. Great, if he wanted to stay for 5 years, everyone would be very happy. But he's doing what's right for his career and his life. And yeah, good to see it. But I saw it the same as you. It's not something we've spoken about. He's the boss, and he'll make a decision what's right for him. And maybe in 2 years' time he goes, actually, I want to go for another year. I want to go for another. Who knows? It's hard to say right now, but there's big things still to come. I know that much.
And the big things that we're hoping for is that Tyson Fury fight in the near future. If Tyson gets past Usyk, I've heard His Excellency say that is the fight that he will put next. I know there's a rematch clause in there with Usyk and Fury, but realistically, Fury beats Usyk. Quick one, Frank. Fury beats Usyk. Fury Joshua. Start a Riyadh season next season.
Let's see. I think they got a 2-fight plan, I believe. Anything's possible in the heavyweight division. Look, you can't look beyond tomorrow. So Joseph Parker calling out AJ today, Joseph Parker calling out Dillian White. The heavyweight division's on fire. It's a great time to be involved. There's big fights to be made. We all want to see the Fury fight. And I'm confident the Fury fight will happen. More than ever now as well, by the way. We spoke, again, we've done so much speaking about it, but I'm confident that we'll see that fight. It's the fight that needs to be made, 100%.
Quick one on Vegas then.
While you say that, I'm going
yes.
to check something while you talk.
All right, can we just keep everyone entertained while you're...
Say what you need.
Okay, I'm just going to go to Las Vegas last weekend. Richardson hits in, Diego Pacheco.
Jimmy Sains.
Jimmy Sains, there we go. That was it, Jimmy. How could you forget Jimmy Sains? He's your neck of the woods. He's your neck of the woods.
I know, but
Sometimes if it's at the front...
Jimmy, no, he's not there. I was going to say, Jimmy, I apologise, but we got there eventually.
I'll edit that into the middle part of the interview. Then I'll work some music. I'll work some magic. Yeah, Vegas last weekend. Great show, great test for Richardson Hitchens, especially that 140-pound division. Just proves that 140-pound division with all them names that you have in Matchroom. I mean, it's a very competitive division to be in.
Yeah, 100%. Look, that fight, that main event, is exactly what we said would happen. Richardson Hitchens came under a lot of fire after his previous fight about the style of it. He boxed amazingly, but the reality is that's not what all fans want to see. They want to see entertainment, they want to see a tear-up. And Lemos was the person to bring that out of him. Great fight, start to finish. It was a very close fight. It was a very close fight. I had it a draw myself, just being completely open. I don't know where the 117, 111 came from. Wild. And it's a shame as well because it sort of ruins... Look, if that fight would have gone a point either way, no one would have said anything. They would have said, I thought he won, but no one would have said anything at all, And it ruins it a little bit, is the truth, because that becomes a talking point around it. But exciting time for the division. Richardson Hitchens now IBF mandatory for the winner of Subriel Matias against Liam Parrott. Look, no one wanted to fight Subriel Matias. So Richard Hitchens choosing to go the IBF route shows that he's willing for any challenge. So that's great to see. Yeah, and 140 division's on fire. Diego Pacheco as well. He grafted out. It was a tough win for him on Saturday. Probably tougher than he expected, but I think now we need to step him up in class. He wants the biggest fights possible out there, so big fights to be made for him. Sky Nicholson, obviously new world champion. Great win for her on Saturday. Galawia Fire, another good win. I think he definitely is someone who needs to step up now in the levels, because it's kind of like he's too good and sort of just coasts his way through, and I think you'll see more and more improvements from him as time goes on. Obviously he's had that cut, I think he'll be out for a couple of months now, but the natural fight there that we want to make is the Sonny Edwards fight. I think that fight makes a lot of sense. Some news on Sonny in the next few days, but it's definitely one we're looking at. And Mark Castro, Mark Castro with a good win. He probably needs to step up in weight. It was tough for him. It's tough to make 130. But his first title and a big future to come from him as well. So it was a great night in Vegas. Great time at the Fontainebleau. I realised when I was leaving for the airport, in 5 days, I went outside for 3 hours, which is a bit worrying, really.
There's no windows as well. It's not like you can go about and see the sunshine. It's just darkness.
I went to the same restaurant 3 nights and had the exact same food for 3 nights in a row, so I'm very much a creature of habit. But great place, Fontainebleau, and although Manchester is not sunny like Vegas, it's one of my other favourite places.
Saying about every place you go to, Frank. But I'll tell you one thing though, if you ever come up to Scotland and you want a game of golf, Glen Eagles, Archerfield, Gullin, come and speak to me.
It's tough on there though. You know, Glen Eagle, all that. I can't play on there. The wind's nice and easy. There's no wind. There's no.
I think that Scottish golfers would be good because we've got to deal with the weather factor in it, but we're still shite. We're still shite at golf, but even though we've got to deal with the weather, but like if you ever come to Scotland and you want to play Glen Eagles or Archerfield especially, I'll sort it out for you, Frank.
Looking forward to it. I'll be there. Me and you.
No, me and you. Listen, what do you play off handicap?
Tees.
Thanks very much, my man. Thank you.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.